So Leo on Next on the Block, guest wetu is a legend of this art, a Shakespeare, a spoken word poet, performer, and podcaster. He's the founder of the Artist Hub, Diversity Festival, and host of the Street Poetry. He's one of the first people to start group poetry under Mentalist Poet. To get some time to speak to him, and this is what he had to say.
Kuna wakati tulikuwa tukipenda gazeti. Siku hizi kile tunaona daily kwa hii nation ili standard. Rise of knee infection, watu wanahama, mabed sitters zina lose couples to single. Hii state imewatenganisha. Sasa hiyo wanajua meaning ya kukosa affection, kukosa attention. Juu kile ilikuwa naeka at ease sehemu wa set apart. Loneliness inaogopesha kama news alert. Mamangu akiushago na hizo miaka zake mingi, ananihofia kuliko vile mimi namfikiria. Maisha yangu kwake ni precious. Hadi juliza kana maintain social distance na demu wangu. Juzi landlord alikuja kunitisha kodi. Ilibaki nimemfungia dirisha juu sina door. To make it worse, akaniambia sina inspiration. So aling'oa roof. No daily nikuwe na someone to look up to. God. Najua mimi ni muungwana lakini... So my name is Poeta. I am a spoken word artist, I'm a podcaster and also an event planner. So basically those are the three things I've majored in. But I'm known sana for spoken word. And my poetic journey started way back in 2014. Where we were doing street things, street poetry, going to many events and stuff, just looking for avenues. Back ikafika wakati tunaweza host hata sisi events zetu, and that is also how I came up with the Artist Hub, which is now a monthly event that has been giving other artists an avenue to just come and showcase their poetry, exhibitions also, because I normally combine art with entrepreneurship. So basically my journey has been ile kulelewa, nikakuwa mtoto mchanga, nikagrow, and I've also now come to a point where I'm able to host other poets and creatives in my Artist Hub avenue. For an artist, it's like biased to say a certain event, because sasa itakuwa ni kama hizo events zingine umeenda ulikuwa tu but I can say, okay, the biggest one was at Nairobi Chapel, where I performing courtesy of EOP. You know, Elsafa Njara, big up for the platform. You're performing with my boy Le Chatelier and as Mentalist Poets, and it was the biggest audience I've ever seen, like 2,000, smammering in front of 2,000 people. For me, it was a big platform, and I can really say that yonde ilifanyata, I can confidently, you know, stand in front of even 60,000 people and perform. Kitambo used to say that where I come from is what was my inspiration for writing, because natoka Mathare, so I used to write what I say in Mathare and basically everything that happened there. So hiyo ndio ilikuwa ina kila saa kwa poetry yangu utasikia ni kama na mention, you know, where I came from, but nilikam ku notice as you get exposed to a lot of backgrounds, a lot of people, a lot of other inspiration. And right now I can say I normally write about what hasn't happened, what I kind of predict. Okay, I'm not a prophet, but I kind of predict some stories, and then I also write about what is happening right now, and then I also just write about fiction that I feel is close to reality. So I normally combine that, and then international like, ulifikiriaje kuhusu kitu, but it's something that I just foresaw that it come to happen. Let me write about it and, you know, see how people react to it.
After mechi ya mwisho rafiki yake alimuelezea waende kujivinjari club pale mtaani iliyojiita Barcelona. Billy alikubali though alihope mambo hazitakuwa messy. Waliingia na kutafuta chill spot and late in the evening waliapproachwa na mwanamke umri wa kadri basuri ya kuvutia. Akaelezea Billy of how angependa jadiliane naye kuhusu mpira na ilitaka kumsponsor. Bora tu angekubali kukaa naye pale keep company for the evening. Si alikubali.
The way I met Le Chatelier was funny because I was not exposed to spoken word sana events especially, and then so I went to street poetry, and then I was seeing him there doing his thing. Nashindwa sasa mtu na hizo kizungu zake ngumu, you know, how do people even relate? And then after that we met in Huruma, and we were like, yo, we can meet up and do something. You can be the, you know, we normally have the thing of the hero and the villain. So me nilikuwa niko the hero, and then for him he's the villain. So akiandika kitu fulani, me I'm going against it, and that's how we started to fuse our pieces. So basically me I was doing like deep sheng, ile sheng ya Mathare, and then yes alikuwa na kizungu ingine ya Shakespeare. So tulikuwa tunamita the Kenyan Shakespeare. So whenever we could go to Fatuma's Voice to perform, ilikuwa crazy because people were like, okay, mtu anatry kuget sheng, mwingine anatry kuget kizungu na tunachanganya watu, unaona. So at first when we were starting it was crazy because people weren't understanding the group. Guys are used to, if you guys are a group and you're doing the same thing, if it's English, it's English. So how come tunasikia sheng and then tunakuja tunasikia kizungu ingine deep and atulei kile nyinyi mnasema. But at some point we came up with the alias of tulikuwa tunajiita wachizi wa Mathare. So guys will be like, yeah, say for me ni gani, and it gave birth to a lot of groups, and it gave birth to unique people who now embraced what they were doing and getting out of the comfort zone. So it was a crazy journey because at some point hatukuwa tunaelewa, watu walikuwa wanatuelewa, but we really took it head on and hatukuwa tunajali kuhusu what other people think. We just continued doing our best and it became the best group in poetry. Tulikuwa tuna host street poetry, Leshatli akaenda Thika and now he was doing his human persons events, and so basically I could travel there, take art there, he could come here. So yes, it has been amazing. Uko msanii ni ngumu. Basically a lot of people you talk to or introduce yourself as an artist, you'll always, and it's maybe it's a cliche but it's still happening, yeah, where you're introducing yourself as an artist na bado mtu anakuambia nini nyingine ufanya apart from art, what do you do, and it has been really messing people up because other people feel like usanii kwagi appreciated, and hata mi kwa inanifanyikia because nilikuwa naambia msee, hey man, mimi ni poet na naniona kwa TV na wapi pia is like hey, but other people you get that they feel art is not appreciated. Now of late pia nikaanza kufeel hiyo kitu inaumiza wasanii sana, in the sense that you are an artist or you're a poet and bado mtu ana feel like that's not a real job, either because anaona kulipi bills or you're an artist but haujulikani, so you should leave that and get other forms of work. So even poetry ndo kitambo ifike point inakubalika, it took a lot of time. You are really going everywhere ndo poetry julikane, mpaka sai at least poets are recognized. So for the guys who are coming up and they are poets and they are really finding it rough to, kwanza sai na corona, there are no shows, there are no avenues. It's just a matter of why you're doing what you're doing. That's what I always ask someone. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it for the fame, for the money, or is it because iko ndani yako? So basically you can just say keep on.
Kumbe pombe ilikuwa Spike na his vulnerability was her opportunity. Baadaye Billy akiwa mlevi kupindukia alihead home na who stranger who was now treating him in a friendly way. Those warm hugs na cold kisses ili equal to a lukewarm of affection. Na walipofika to a house, later X na Y zilipatana na hopeless bed na Monday aliplease her selfish desires kwa Billy.
For me 2020 hit me hard because at that time I was also having a restaurant. So nimefungwa tu restaurant hivi and then boom, corona imeni hit. So I'm like, okay, this is how business goes. So I'm trying to balance between a business and an art life. Unapata inakuwa tricky. At some point I will be like, since now there are no events na nini, let me concentrate on my business. But business was also inaenda chini leo juu hivi. So during that time ikakuwa tricky. I remember at some point last year before Ishe, I was booked like 6 shows and it was back to back. So ile unajua even if the business is not good, at least these 6 shows zitani sort. And following the government directives about the MOH rules and guidelines kuhusu events and gatherings, all the 6 shows zikakuwa cancelled. So it was tough. Kwanza 2020 I was about to say like, man, simini msanii, wacha corona ishi, atakiitisha in the next 2 years I'll come to art again. But I figure out I have people who are in my back na wananitegemea pia, so I could do like online shows, yeah, where I was using Instagram as a platform to still showcase artist potential and then look for sponsors who can sponsor an online show. So basically people do a pre-recorded show and then wanna come and then we could put it on social media. and then also other companies who could contract artists once in a while. Tuna Poeta anaitwa hapa 254 hapa ametuita tumefanya show. So that's how we survived. So sai ndo tunajaribu kwanza kurudisha shows pole pole. Poetry kitambo, it was really tight. You know, there were no space for mediocre. Atuona nafikira tu umeanza, you can just come and do anything shady and then get away with it. It was really tough. Ile unajua ukiingia kwa show, unaingia kwa show na mtu ame really invest his time, practice and talent in everything. So akiingia kwa show jwe ilikuwa ni kuua, you know, ile msame kili could just hear ule mtu ameua. So always taka kuenda against the person who has set the bar high there. And then at some point, as the years went by, it allowed, you know, space for everyone. You know, kama unajua una perform na uko poa ama you want to give it a try, you come, there are a lot of stages, a lot of avenues, you can come and do your thing. So I can say it has evolved until corona ilikuja. Corona ilijaribu kustop reggae ikashindwa, ikajaribu kustop poetry pia at some point. I don't know what happened to a lot of poets and a lot of events, but najua poetry has gone like this, ikarudi chini kiasi, but sai got a certain level where it's still surviving, because as much as tunaweza taka kudu vitu zingine, we can't because of the government regulations and stuff. But you know, a show like this still giving us poets. I'm thinking it's not about even the physical events. You know, things are going online, and at times ilifika point we are appreciating corona for changing the dynamics, you get. So we are appreciating more online visibility, and you know, a show like this, 1900 films for hosting poets, basically it's an amazing thing. So meaning the poetry heartbeat will still keep beating. So yeah, poetry is still alive.
Wangeamini Billy was just a coward who couldn't even face his own shadow. Wangeamini. So Billy hakuripoti kwa polisi wala marafiki juu ya kuchekelewa. Ilimchukua muda, time ilijaribu kuponesha kidonda moyoni, but alijiambia akipeafia mguu itakimbia na dreams zake. So later on alikam confess that he was raped. Uchungu, but aliwish watu waelewe it's not about how physically strong you are. That men too can be victims of such situations.
As a poet, all that time nimekuwa na build up a lot of things, and as I told you earlier, I've grown to now being a podcaster where I'll be doing a lot of self-improvement talks and also hosting a lot of creatives, not just poets, a lot of creatives on the podcast. So the podcast is called the Unedited Voices Podcast. It's on all, you know, platforms, Google platforms and all that. And then I've also teamed up with other poets. I've teamed up with a poet, a Somali poet called Fardosa, and Naima, and Aftishan. They are great poets, female poets, who are doing amazing things. And so basically what we are doing to poetry is trying to advance it, trying to celebrate our diversity in our similarities. Sijui kama ina make sense, but basically ni kuleta watu wengine tofauti and trying to do a common goal. So next month we are launching that event project at Memorial Park, and for more details, no watu waingie kwa inbox yangu. Follow me on all socials, Poeta Dennis, Instagram, Poeta_Dennis, Facebook, Poeta Dennis, Twitter, Poeta Dennis, email address, theartisthub@gmail.com. Namba yangu ya simu itapatikana hapa for those who are very genuine to send M-Pesas. Kuna wala to send M-Pesa like you're an artist, wacha nikusupport hata siku hizi kuna events. So basically we really appreciate everyone who is doing an amazing stuff to see art go to the next level.
All we need is for you to heal our land. 'Cause we are crying to you, Lord. All the kingdoms, the nations, the old ones, the young ones, we need is for you to heal our land.
Kuna wakati tulikuwa tukipenda gazeti, siku hizi kilina happen kwa hii Nation Daily ni newsstand. rise of new infections, watu wanahama, bedsitters zina lose couples to singles. Hii state saimu watenganisha, saimu wanajua mini ya kukosa affection, kukosa attention. Tukili ilikuwa naweka at ease, saimu wa set apart. Loneliness inaogopesha kama news alert. Mango kioshago nezo miaka zake mingi, ananihofia kuliko vile mimi namfikiria. Maisha yangu kwake ni precious, hadi ujuliza kana maintain social distance na demu wangu. Juzi landlord alikuja kuitisha kodi, nilibaki nimemfungia dirisha juu sina door. To make it worse, akaniambia sina inspiration. Swali ngwa roof do daily niwe na someone to look up to. God, mimi ni muungwana na najua dhambi za Adam ndo zilifanya mimi na hawa wengine tupitie haya mashine. Kazi tulisimamishwa kama msichana anapita bezi ya vijana. Maji ilikatwa kwa sisi wapangaji nyumba, tuko 1 meter away kukufa na ukame. Nikiona msee ule mumodeni ya tala na branch, mashida zinaudhi kama mgeni ya overstay na hana mpanga kulive. You employees wengine wako leave, wengine waliambiwa leave. But where do you go to? Msee hajui culture ndo ongea mbaya kuhusu sanii na hajui reggae ndo roots za kutoa youth kwa mtaa mentality. Kama haujazaa hautajua the fruits of labor ndo toa mama mjamzito maternity. Uliza any youth na takwambia crime doesn't pay, but tumbo kushiba ndo ita-keep temptation away. Uliza any youth na takwambia age was nothing but a number, wazee wakiandikwa kazi kwa vijana. Uliza any youth na takwambia sanitizer to keep hands clean, hater wa stop to do dirty work, juu hapo ndo pesa iko. Waulize. So kijana jipange, wale wananjia kutafuta ndo kula fiti. Usijihusishe na kula utafiti, jihusishe na kula utafanya utafiti. Biashara huanza na wale wana mind their own business, hata mahasta za watembeagi solo if they need company. Si kuna wale unukia mzuri jua mwoga na mageisha, na kuna wale unuka jasho jua wanafanya kazi nika hiyo siku dunia ingeisha. Maisha ukuja na problems ndo we solve. Sisi ndo solution. Wale wana fuel na diesel hawajui sisi pia tuna train za pedal magari za moshi. Tuko na matanzania mahali tunaona njia. Happy kungarisha lakini haibadilishi kuwa choo. Yesu ndo anaweza kuwa your shepherd but haimanishi uwezi ni kondo. Hii life ukipiga hesabu utapata your history define your future. Na mtu akikushua otherwise jua hiyo ni Kiswahili. Kwa hivyo temporary challenges zinahitaji permanent solution. Kumbuka vile God alifanya Adam ku create Eve, sisi pia tuna need kuwa creative.
How we bleeding, all we need